Hello everyone and welcome back to PianoSecrets. In this video I'm going to be teaching you how to play Turkish March by Mozart, and this will be a full tutorial. The first thing that you should know is that the piece is going to start by using an A minor scale. A minor is like this. So the right hand melody is going to follow those notes. So all of those notes follow the A minor scale, and the only difference is when we go to the third group, which we have a D sharp, which that will be using something else. It's using a passing tone, which is different. So these are the notes. So what you need to realize here when you go a little bit faster is the movement of the hand. Sometimes if you start on B, let's say you go towards the black key, so you lift a little bit, then you release and you rotate. Same thing here. On the interval that is larger, that's where you rotate. So it will be from C to E. Now you stay, up a little bit, E, and then you rotate. Rotate over C, and like I said, all those notes follow the A minor scale, and that's gonna dictate what we played on the left hand, which will be this chord. All we need to do is bring it an octave lower and we have the chord. So for all those notes we could start matching them. I know coordination sometimes could be difficult when you begin to play the song, but the easiest we could do is play every melody and on the first beat of each measure match this chord with it. So I hope you can do this. Some people get tense at the beginning, but if you cannot play them all at once at the same time, you could split them several times until you get used to it. Now if you start putting it together with this chord at the same time, we can start playing the melody, and once we get to C we match it. E now, B and C. Okay, after that it's going to change. Now it's important that we define now that every single ending, when we match it now, the right hand should be short. 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 Short, short. So it's a distinction there in between them. Now the next step is trying to do it the way he wrote it, so the only variation to this is trying to do the left hand. So the left hand has an accent on the first beat and then softer notes. So we have two measures like that. So we have this. And what I'm gonna try to do is after this, it's gonna change. So sometimes that's 3, C and D. Now one of each. That's everything. So I recommend doing this several times before putting it together. So now when we try to put it together, I think the best thing is trying to do it very slow and see it one at a time. So that means if we start on B, that matches, see? Now after that it becomes a C and E that is going to be played by itself, and that's it. So I recommend doing 2-3 times, just that, until your hand says, oh, this is fine. You see the green light, I go to the next one. So if you do it left. Now the next C and E is going to match the D, so we could play up to there. D. Okay? Again. Now we're going to add the C, which it goes by itself. Okay, you see the idea of matching it together? Now we're going to add the B, which will match again the C and E. So, and then we get to A and we repeat this. So let's play it what would sound like if you play up to that point. So, and that's it. So together will be together, together, together. Okay, let's do the next one now. We have, and this will do two of this. So last time. Good. All the way there, we'll play it. Okay, now for the part that we have this, it's going to change. So instead of having all 1A and 3, we'll have one of each. And then comes back. So I hope you practice the left hand when I tell you to. So we'll match this up too. So once you start on B, just think that every other note you have to match it. Match, 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 and C. Okay? After the C, we have two notes, A and C. But we get to C, and then together, together. And we have covered the whole A minor part. So let's play it now very slow, and then we'll go from there. So let's try it. And notice what I told you before. We keep using this note and the chord here. So that's very important, because then you don't have to worry about memorizing each note, but you also know the black keys that are going to be involved. And the only exception is the D sharp when we do here. Then here G sharp again, and here also G sharp, which is from the scale that I show you. So after this section, you could try to play at different speeds, and also you could practice rhythm. So you could practice like this. That's just to get used to the fingers playing fast and slow at the same time, because when we rest on one, we're playing slowly, but then to the next one quickly. See, then again, and so forth. You could do the whole thing. Also, you could do the opposite. Also, you could do 4 notes, so you could do this. So then when you play it, you have more room to say, I'm going to play it really fast, or I'm going to play it slowly. This will help you to have more freedom when you are performing the piece, because your brain could see the notes very quickly and also very slow at the same time. Let's continue now. And I did the break there because we were talking about A minor, but what we're gonna do next is go to E minor, and the chord can be seen when you have the A minor notes. Now instead of the G sharp, we're gonna use this chord, and what it is the E minor scale will be like this. Notice that it has an F sharp, D sharp, and then it comes back down, and this is the chord for it, which we're gonna use it on the left hand. I'll show you. So what we have is grace notes like this. So all the way up, notice that we're using already the notes from E minor, and then coming back down, E minor has an F sharp, and that's why we have here an F sharp. So this repeats 3 times. So we have G, B, G, A, B, F, A, F sharp, A, same, same, and then the addition to it is the D sharp and E. Okay? So notice that when I go to the B, I ring that B more. Ring the B, the first beat of the measure, again. And my hand also goes towards the B. I rotate. I don't have to exaggerate. It's very little, but still I move this way to play more natural. Release one down, again, one down, and then I get to E. This is also, you could do the rhythm, so let's say we do. And that's how you get speed. You could do it backwards. And then all of them. Okay? Let's continue now. Now if we play E minor here, that means the chord on the left is going to match that. So what we do is bring all those notes. So let me put here an E. Let me put here B. And let me put here an E. Now, we're going to leave G out, but it's being used on the right hand. So that's what's great about Mozart. So the way he voices things, so the G, he brings it up here. G is there again. And then we release to E. So the left hand is going to have this kind of rhythm. Now 1 goes to B and E. Notice that B is also part of the chord E minor, even though when we play this B against the right hand, it will give us a different chord. So let's do it one last time. To B, and also notice that the hand goes down on E and up. We go up, so you also release the tension and you have less sound in it. And we have the first beat 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, E and E. When we have 2 quarter notes, the first beat is always strong and the second beat is always weak. That could help you also when you interpret the piece, being aware of that. So that means when we do it together, we emphasize the 1. So that's why we'll do this. Release here. That's the 1. And we end up with E. Let's work now on coordination, how to coordinate this. So when you do the G, let's add the first note. So we do G, A, B, that matches. And pretty much each note will match with the other chord. And that's it. So we do the G, A, B, match, 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 match. Now we go to B. And then we end there. So it's pretty simple because every note matches. So if you learn well the right hand and the left hand and then put together, just think that the only 2 notes that they are separated is the 2 ornaments. So you might be wondering, when we go here, this is a change of chord all of a sudden, because that's E minor, E, G and B is on the bass. But then when we play B, D, F sharp, D, F sharp, if you bring it here, that would be a B major chord, and then we release to E. So it's important that you notice that B major chord, because we are doing A minor to E minor to B major, and then back to E minor. So if I perform it now, I know it's piano and it has the accent sometimes on the left hand, so I play like this. And then at the end, I release the tension again. Let's go now to the second part. And now there is a change of scales now. And as you can see, this part, it's going to be based on C major. So C major is like this. And if you take the first 5 notes of the scale, you have a C major chord. Now what he does is doing thirds with it. So he's going to do this. Scale down, starting on A, but still C major notes. And then repeats. So it's important that you practice this, because this is going to repeat all the time. So C, E, and for each third, short ones, you go down and up. And relax. After you hit the note, relax there. Scale now. Notice, rotate towards the thumb, chord, and release. Sometimes it's hard to, the thumb is the end of the phrase. You have to try not to hit it too hard there. Like I said before, this is all C major. Starting on A. And then at the end here, you could see the G chord. So we're doing simple progression, going from C to G. Going from the 1 to the 5th degree of the scale. I hope that's clear to you. Let's continue. So you could divide this in 2 parts or in 3 parts. The ascending thirds with the switch here, the descending scale, and then the chord. So when you practice, I will split it like that. The left is going to follow that, so it's going to follow C major also, and that's why he puts octaves here. He puts 2 notes, C and C, E and E, and then G. And what he does after that is break it. So, and that's it. One last time. If you have a small hand, let's say if your hand is like this, you have to rotate towards and let go of the other note. If your hand is bigger, then you could stay there. It's not a problem. If you try to play quickly, you always see the rotation when I let go. It will feel better on the keyboard, and it also gives you more, so it sounds effortless and it looks effortless. If I stay on the same spot, you could see that I'm tight there. I could still play the notes, but I'm tight. But if I do it like this, it's almost like I'm playing with it. Now let's put it together. So we have 2 notes by itself on the right hand, and then we match that one, E and G on the right hand with the C. Then we change, match it, A now, match it, and then the G. If that was too hard, I'd have another way. So go all the way up to E and G, match. Then after E and G, we're going to switch and we'll match it with the first finger. Okay, next one. F and E, and the last one. Okay, Look at the phrasing always. Is sometimes it's hard because you have to come back, and that one will give it an accent, but it should be a release, you know. The tension was already made up on the D and the B. Let's continue now, and the good news is this repeats again, so it's 2 times. But the second time we just grab the B and the D and the G, and we end it there. And after this it's gonna modulate, and it's gonna go back again to the A minor. So have that in mind when you play this. So if we did this, all we have to do is drop it 3 notes. I will end up with this now. And notice now the G sharp showing up, and this will be like an E major chord, but the G sharp comes from there. So it's like an E major chord now that we're doing. So the release is there. So let's play it. The same technical principles as the one in C major, which we did, is the same thing, but 3 notes down. Instead of here, we'll go, okay, and we play the same way. You get to F, chord with the G sharp, and then repeats, and then we hold it there. We don't play the E. I hope that's clear. Let's continue. Now, because we have A minor now, we'll put the same patterns that we did on the one on C major. Now I started also on A. We go to C, and we do afterwards the E. And same principles with the rotation and short notes that we have. And that's it. That's all we do. Now, if we try to do it together, we have right, and then we match each note. Now every other note. Okay, let's do it one last time. For those that have difficulty matching it, we could do it like this. First note we match. Now we go to the second note. We match both. Next one. We go on. And we do it all the way. This way always works for the beginner because we are only concentrated on matching the first one, then the second one, and so forth we add. If you can match the first one, then don't worry about the rest, do just that, and then look at the next one that's coming, match it, and play up to that point, and so forth. That way you build up. If you cannot match it, I would recommend don't move on from there, because if you do, you're just gonna accumulate places where you're not secure about how to play it. Now if we play this section in A minor, then we have this. And then it goes back to the main theme. Hopefully this is clear. Let's continue. So now it comes back to the same thing. So if you, let's play it first. This is C major, so you could give it more color. Now it's A minor, so you could pick if you wanna make it. Usually you could play it lighter. Now we go back. And here's the change. Now if you did a good job at the beginning of the song, then part of this is solved. Just like if you did a good job on the C major, then that passage should be solved. So now when we get to C, the left hand is going to move around and do different chords, but the melody is quite simple. So we have this, all short notes now. Okay, so we have short notes, and notice that the only sharp is the G sharp. Some people do it longer, it doesn't matter at all. And still using the Okay, let's move on to the next part. So maybe because we changed a few chords, what I do is give you the chords together first, like this, let's say. That's the first chord on an F7. So F, A, C, E, but the C is on the right hand. Okay, that's one chord. Then we have an A minor. What we do is move this one down and this one up. That's A minor. Then we have to replace this. We go to D, F, B. It could be like a G diminished. Then we go back to A minor, right there, C, E, A. G diminished again. And then we have A minor, E and A. E major, and octave. A minor at the end. So, the best thing to do is maybe do it by measure. So let's say you practice this. Always remember the accent on the first note. So we get to C. Much, much. And you just practice that over and over until you don't have to think about it. Okay? After that, you practice the next measure. So you do this. So we have this. And you just go one and one. Remember the principle that when you have a chord and it's split, drop up. Okay? And when we match it one by one. So if you did much, 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 much. Last time. And if we do it all together, let's say we start on C. And we have the ending now. So we have the A minor, the G diminished or G7. So we have this now. One by one. Let's do it up to that point. So the C with the E and A by itself, hold it. B and the E major chord. Another one and A. I'll play it slowly one last time. And the trill, sometimes when you play it slower, you have to make it longer. Once you play quicker, so let's play quicker now. Notice how I practice very slow and then I increase the speed. So that's how I want you to practice. And sometimes you do it one day slowly and you say, I can't get it yet. Well, be patient, do the same thing next day, and you'll see that you get it sooner, quicker, and everything, your fingers all of a sudden starts to know the patterns. That's it. That's the first section, let's say, and then it's going to change. Now, for the next part, there's a change of key. So far, here we've been working with A minor, E minor, A minor, going to B major, and back to A. Sometimes we play C to G, A minor to E, and the ending. So that's the backbone of the whole Turkish march at the beginning of this section, which we did 3 sections already. The next part is gonna do a shift on the scales that we're gonna use and the techniques that we're gonna use. Instead of using scales and simple chords on the left hand, we're gonna use octaves and we're gonna use arpeggios sometimes. But I want you to think that the scale that is made up of this passage is A major, so you have to know that well. So this is A major. So you should know that in both hands. So, and actually this arpeggio is gonna come up eventually on the left hand. So that's why I recommend you practice. And the reason that's why I give a little bit of theory within the song, so you can see the use of it, because students sometimes don't want to practice scales and arpeggios, but every single pattern that we see in every song is always a combination of scales, arpeggios, and chords. So I see it that's very important. So thinking on the scale a little bit and the melody that we're going to play now, you could see that we have C sharp, F sharp, and G. And the song will do this. So what I want you to think is, when you play that theme, so all of those are the same notes from the scale. He changed the order and the rhythm. So we have short, short. We use the G sharp and F. We go back. And that's it. That's what we have. So I think it's fantastic to see how he was a genius, but also human, because he's just playing the scale basically and changing the rhythm. Now, the first thing I recommend is playing the melody like that with single notes. Okay, and notice there is a line A major here, and sometimes I'm E major here. Okay, anyway, let's do it now in octaves. When you practice octaves, you need to be loose. I always say that it's almost like playing basketball. So if you bounce the ball, you will do this, and you will not do this. You know, you will not do this. So you will have to do this movement. So you could even do it with single notes. Okay? So when you do the octaves, same thing. Okay, if you want to speed it up, you could do. You could work as much as you can on it to do different rhythms like I showed you before for the speed, and I think that will solve the problem. So now that we have that, and the reason that's why I give a little bit of theory within the song, so you can see the use of it, because students sometimes don't want to practice scales and arpeggios, but every single pattern that we see in every song is always a combination of scales, arpeggios, and chords. So I see it that's very important. So thinking on the scale a little bit and the melody that we're going to play now, you could see that we have C sharp, F sharp, and G. And the song will do this. So what I want you to think is, when you play that theme, so all of those are the same notes from the scale. He changed the order and the rhythm. So we have short, short. We use the G sharp and F. We go back. And that's it. That's what we have. So I think it's fantastic to see how he was a genius, but also human, because he's just playing the scale basically and changing the rhythm. Now, the first thing I recommend is playing the melody like that with single notes. Okay, and notice there is a line A major here, sometimes I'm E major here. Okay? Anyway, let's do it now in octaves. When you practice octaves, you need to be loose. I always say that it's almost like playing basketball. So if you bounce the ball, you will do this, and you will not do this. You know, you will not do this. So you will have to do this movement. So you could even do it with single notes. Okay? So when you do the octaves, same thing. Okay, if you want to speed it up, you could do. You could work as much as you can on it, do different rhythms like I showed you before for the speed, and I think that will solve the problem. So, because we have A major on the right hand, so what we'll do is bring that to the left hand. Most of the time for Mozart pieces, many times the left hand does the harmonic pattern, so that means the harmony, and then the right hand does melodies. So we have this, and what we do is do an arpeggio, and you could think almost like a guitar. So it's A, C sharp, E, A. Now if you take a look a little bit at the scale, you'll find that the fourth note is D major. So this chord will bring it down there also. And we just do that. So D major chord, we run it up, we play there. But it comes from the scale also. Then we raise a half step each to get to E. And this is it. So we do D. Let me do it slower. So notice that the only strange thing is when you do chromatically to D sharp, but then we go to E, which E. So the harmonic progression is A major, one chord, to D major, then we switch chromatically, and we get to E, fifth chord, and back to. Okay? So you go down on this and then release and try to play those soft. Let's try it together. So let's say if we play with both hands. Change. And then it repeats there. So we got kind of two things at once. In order to match them, I think it's fairly simple. So we match in the first one by itself. Match, match, match each one now. Match, 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 match. So each one matches most of the time, unless this the C here. The long C, this one. So we have one in between and then match. Okay, I played it correctly there, so you could rewind the video a few times and see where I match the notes. This goes by itself, and you match the A. Kind of, you have to put it a little bit ahead of time for each one. I know that sometimes we can go too fast, so if this is too fast for you, there's a wheel on the corner of the video, and you could adjust that to half a speed or even a quarter of a speed. So now it repeats again, so we do it slowly one last time and we move on from there. So same thing. And the only difference is when you do the D here, that little change. So when you go descending, jump, So, and that will match also with the left hand. But now we have D, E, we skip this. Now we go straight. Okay, I play one last time. Okay, I was just thinking of something that I haven't discussed, and it's the pedaling on Mozart. So for the most part I will not use pedal at all, and that makes things a little bit harder because everything is noticeable. If you play a note a little bit louder or a little bit softer, you could tell, and it makes the piano a little bit heavier. So I don't recommend putting pedal. You could only put pedal, say at the beginning, just to ring that B a little more. So I think it gives them more direction with the pedal. If you play without it, with pedal on the first note, so I will do it there maybe a little bit. Also for the octaves, pedal on the first note to have this resonate more. Pedal, release. So, pedal, only when you do this, pedal and release. Pedal, release. Okay, and you could also practice the left hand by itself and then adding them together. Now let's go to the part that is made up of scales, and we have kind of a combination. He's combining scales. So the first section will have what we call still an A major. So we'll do this. Until we get there, because the F is not part of the F major scale. So all of this we play with the same hand position on A, and then we shift to the B, fifth finger. I recommend just practicing that. Now when you get to the F, when you look at the notes, it's gonna look more like this, like a D flat major, or you could think as a C sharp also, because it has this. So it's outlining this chord now. Then it goes up, it comes back again, and then that is outlining the C sharp minor. So more than knowing the theory in this passage, I think it's important to think that it might help to think on the strong beat and the weak beat. So then you will end up playing with a little accent on the first beat, and it will help for building up your technique. So you play like this. And the other thing for scales in Mozart, I recommend not forcing anything and just drop the finger by itself. Don't have to hammer so much. So let's say if you do it from C sharp, accent here, accent, see accent here, every 4 notes. Every 4 notes do the accent. Once you know this well, maybe what I do is play slower so you can see it, the H finger. So it's true that sometimes you practice slowly and it works, and then when you play it quickly it doesn't work. And that is because you are not, many times you are not moving correctly. Sometimes when you have closed notes, you don't have to move much, but when you have larger leaps, you do have to move. So that means if I have this position, I don't have to move much here, but when I have to adjust the fifth fingers here, I have to move to adjust here and go back and rotate. So here also, rotate back, rotate because I have to adjust here, rotate again. Now we're not moving much, but here we rotate once again, rotate towards A. Same pattern, so flip. Now this is hard for most people. So make sure, sometimes what works for me is giving an accent to C, another accent here. So if you look at it's very simple to figure this out. If the notes are close together, don't have to move much, but your hand still follows the play. So that means a little adjustment here. But then once you get to the A and I have this finger here, I have to move this way and back. Okay, I think I was very clear on that, and that will help you too. So that way you be more relaxed and not tense up when you play. If you play without doing it, you start seeing that the fingers start pulling up. So that will get rid of it. Okay, now the left hand, we could do the chords real quick. So in minor, we have F sharp minor. We go to the 7th chord, back. Everything is right there. It's true that each one should be released. Little emphasis on the one. Okay. Some people like maybe to experiment sometimes. I have done this. For the marching, it's going to be always every other note. So what I'll do is maybe play slow and see if you could get it from there. So let's try this. So. I recommend by chords trying to match. So when you divide this video and you rewind it, you will play just this. And that's it. Or you could do it like this. Each one you play the chord all together. That will take off the stress of having to worry about splitting the hands and playing the right hand at the same time. So I could recommend this last one first and then doing the split it. But group the notes, do 8 notes together with the chord and then take a break, maybe do 8 notes until you have the whole passage. The next section is going to go back to the A major scale and we'll have this. And what he does is starting on E, so he's going to start, I'll show you the passage first. So let's work on that a little bit. So we do the scale, so we start on E and we do descending. We go all the way up, we get to the 5th finger, we replace it by the 4th, we play it. And then back to E, And then he put that strange note there, which it wasn't on the scale, but he resolves to B. So it's an E major here. So what he does is try to bring tension there. So it's pretty much knowing where you started, and then look at the movement. So if we start on E, we rotate to A, we do the switch, we rotate, we go to the A, we jump a little bit or go up and down, we try to bring the E here and scale up, and we get there, and that's all there is. So if we play that, that means we're gonna have the left hand in the same manner. So the chords are this: first A major, then we have like an E7, E7 because it comes from here, okay, but it's flipped. So the A major chord is very relaxing, but the next one, it creates tension and it goes back to A major. And then we have the same E7, but without the E, and it has this dissonant interval here that we could call it a tritone. Okay. Now, if we try to put it together, we could go all the way from E now we change. So after you have the chord, I will match one note before splitting them. So on A, fourth finger, A again. Okay, so the next step will be trying to match them again. So we started. And as soon as you hit the A, it's every other note always. So, and the left hand, instead of being like this, will be 1 A and 3 C sharp E. So it will be this: B, okay, so when you have this, first, now, okay, so we try to do it together very slow. Match, 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 match. Every other note, match again. Okay, and then you could practice it again by chords, few notes, then the next chord, whatever notes I play there, until you get to the next one. It's not important to play the whole, all the notes I just played, just do each section, because I know that you might get overwhelmed very quickly the first time. Okay? Now when you play at full speed, the same process. You could play rhythms or the opposite, or 4 notes. That will allow you to get more speed. Now, the next part is the same but with a little change. So the first two, when you do, this is all the same. But here it changes. So we have this in the right hand. All thirds. Some people, again, they said they get tense, but what you need to do is rotate. You have to rotate and emphasize the first note. It's the same principle that if you play the third like this, you will go down on the first one. So when you split them, down, up, and rotate. Okay, and the left hand will do A, F sharp, D, E, A. Then you put it together. So we have C sharp against A against F sharp, B, a little bit faster, and then you have that passage there. Then it comes back to the same thing. Now here is the only part that changes, and you have to learn each note. So let's do that. So we have this. Now big interval, we rotate back. Normal scale. This is a little hard sometimes. Rotate. Sometimes you could take your elbow a little up to have more strength on the fourth finger. Okay, that's the trick. I recommend again they're grabbing 8 notes per measure. You could do an accent. So I will practice that by itself. Next part. Next part. Next part. So that's what I will do to break it into sections so I don't have to be overwhelmed with all the notes. At the left hand we have a C sharp and we have C sharp G, and that's going to drop chromatically down. That's it. So we go to B, E with a B on the bass, so first you think on this, then you think on dropping it, you think on this B chord, like an E chord. Afterwards we move one, you go to F sharp minor, like this, we move those two up and then here, then we break it. Okay, if we do it together, it's the same principle. We match every other note. So I hope this is clear to you. Let's continue. Let's go to the ending now. And as you can see, this piece repeats here. It goes back to the beginning. And then we have an ending that is going to start with the same thing that we did. This thing. So all the left hand notes are the same, but the only difference is that we're going to split the octaves. So instead of playing the octave simultaneously, we're going to break it down. So we're going to do. So, and then here's goes to the coda. So all you have to do is make sure that when you split it, first that you go down on the first finger and up an A. All the time. So always down on the first finger, and also down, up. That's what will make it more so you can play with ease. And also this one you can make it shorter to center. The other thing is rotating. Instead of staying with the thumb there, you have to go towards it a little bit. When you play it together, they're the same notes as the other ones we played. So let's try just that. And then the last two, we need to be careful. I emphasize that to get to the A, okay? That's all there is. All those octaves could be practiced like before for speed, or all four. Your hand will tell you when they're doing the right movements. Let's continue now, and this part is gonna stay on A major. So when we play A, chord there, that's part of the A major. So we have and put maybe pedal afterwards. This little melody here, so that's all we have, three notes: D, C sharp, B. Chord D major. So it's using A major and also D major. Then we have grace note to E major, you can see there, and back. So maybe we'll display the whole theme and then we take a look at the left hand. E major, it repeats. Okay, so this, sometimes you can think it together and releasing the D. Pretty much you have to go down, up, down, up. And also this one, down, up. Okay, as far as the left hand, if we play A here, we'll do A major on the left hand. So, same chord, to D, to E, repeat. And here he changes, the grace note is on the E chord. And then it's going to change, so this. So for the last part, we'll have a left hand with chords, but also once you play A, you have that, which is the version of A. So we have A all the way up, C sharp, and again same thing again, same melody from before, grace note with single note, back to chord, same thing again, same grace note, interval for fifth, and it ends up playing A major at the end, but remember that we started the whole piece in A minor, so that could vary it. So that's the whole thing there. Now if we want to learn a little bit of the chords, we have A major again, A major, so several times. So 6 times, 7, 8. Then we go to D major 2 times, back to A major, A major, A major, E, and then back to this. So again, like we did before, maybe we'll put it together and you can see how it's played very slowly. Then it goes back to that. So let's do a split now. So the first one matches, and when you think of A, then you run this and you match the C sharp with the A. C sharp again and again. Left hand by itself. Again. Now one by one now. D major with the D. Every other note. So we have this every other note. To B. And then it goes back to the one we did up there. So if you do it quickly now. Then we go back. So let me explain this when we come back and we play the same thing. So with the A major arpeggios. Melody here. Every other note matching to D. Grace note. Now we go to E major to A major. Octave. Match. Back. A major chord. And again. Let's do it one last time. Chord. I hope this video was helpful, and if you enjoyed, subscribe. See you in the next video. Thank you.